podcast where art and wellness collide. Well, hi and welcome back to the Healthy Metal Hippie. Today we are talking about clutter. Nobody really likes dealing with the clutter, but it's something that we all end up facing at some point. And the big thing that we're going to talk about today is that clutter around you and your cluttered mind at the same time. Yep. So the past few weeks, I've been kind of methodically going through the house and getting rid of those, expired medicines, those bits in the pantry that you just never really end up using, expired spices, just things you haven't finished, little bits and bobs, clearing up my paperwork, organizing stock, just getting rid of unwanted junk. Because even when we're actually really good about it, it all seems to accumulate. And I know I have been feeling a little bit overwhelmed in my surroundings lately. So I like to go through everything a few times a year, to be honest, and just freshen up my space because you know what? Running businesses out of the house, working, having a kid at school, and a dog, and people coming through. Things get busy. This house, it gets well loved and lots of traffic. And it's a good thing, but it does mean that sometimes it does get a little bit chaotic. So I like these kind of reset moments, organizing everything. It's really important to me, and it's really a big part of my overall kind of rituals, right? Because there's something about it that seems to give a big burst of energy, a burst of alignment and excitement, and you feel like you're back on track with all of your goals, with your dreams, with all this stuff that you're working on. You'd feel a little bit revitalized. There's a few specific times in the year that I love them. I guess it probably would be almost seasonal, but I love them. New Year, like you want to give me a good New Year's Day, that's what I'm going to be doing. It's just freshening up the house, making sure all the Christmas stuff's put away. It's not because I'm not a Grinch, I swear, but I like just getting all this stuff away. I like setting up and ushering in fresh energy for the year. It's one of my favorite traditions. Part of it was going through all of my goal setting for the year, looking at where I'm at, and I just felt, you know what? Yeah, things feel slightly stagnant, so let's shake it up a little bit. Let's move things, it's really, really important. I also really like it back to school vibes where you get everything cleared up, tidy, because that's fresh year too, right? It's not a new year like Jan 1, but it's a new year. And even though I am not in school anymore, but there's something about that time of year that always feels like time for a pop of freshness. And I think maybe it is also just to do with the seasonal shifts in energy and setting ourselves up for the months ahead. Could be. But it's something that I love to do. Some people don't know that actually I am a certified Feng Shui practitioner. And and I became certified in 2010. And it was a very, very exciting time, to be honest. I learned so much just about the energy flow in a house, and how to make a space feel inviting. And I think in some ways I have kept some of it, but I think I've also adapted it into my own kind of feeling, because with the principles of Feng Shui, I definitely believe in it, but I also really have a strong feeling about making a space feel comfortable and welcoming and loving for you, because your space has to feel right for you. It doesn't necessarily, have to be a complete reflection of you, but it has to be a space that feels welcoming and warm and loving for you, where you feel an embrace when you come in. Of course, there's certain areas in your house that correspond to different things. And, you know, I definitely follow that quite strictly, but some of the things I do them to my own beat of the drum now. And I really enjoy it. And so one of the first lessons was about decluttering. It was about a few main principles. So one thing, if your energy feels stuck, you declutter a space. You know, if things aren't moving forward, if you feel kind of blocked in certain areas, clearing the space is a big part of it. Our homework was to do one room. And at this time, I was living in a duplex in Calgary. And actually, my duplex was bigger than my house here. Oops. But I was living in a duplex in Calgary. And I was like, I'm going to do my office space. I had a workshop set up in my basement where I crafted all my aromatherapy products, and I had my computer down there. And so super exciting. I started there. But then when I finished my office, I really didn't want to finish. I had to keep going. So then I did my therapy room. So when I was doing Reiki treatments and massage and everything else that I do, when I was doing that for people, I did that room. And then I did the bedroom, and then I did our other office space. This was before my son was born. And I mean, the other office space ended up becoming his room. But, and then, you know, I did the kitchen, I did the living room, and I was obsessed with it. I loved it. But I ended up doing this in the entire weekend. And when we came back the next week for class, she asked, how did everybody get on? And I went, I did the whole house. And she was like, you what? But yeah, I did the whole house. And when you talk about an energy shift, that was wild. I really didn't sleep for about 3 days after that. There was just so much movement, and it was freeing. It felt so nice. It felt so sunshiny. It felt light. It felt breezy. I've never been able to recreate that feeling again, but holy wow. No, it was amazing. So here's the thing. Decluttering, there's different aspects of it, right? A big thing is getting rid of things that do not serve you anymore. So if you haven't had a good wardrobe clear out lately, maybe it's time to do one of those. I put lots of my stuff on Vinted here, and I love doing Vinted. I also donate a lot of stuff, and I always think that it's important you do, like, if you're doing all your paperwork, for example, if there's stuff you don't need or whatever it may be, you may have your recycling piles, your donate piles, your trash piles, and then it just goes easily from there. Gift things to people, donate, whatever. These are all really, really wonderful ways. There's something that is freeing about it. It really does move energy where it's felt stuck, but it also gives you space to invite good things into your life. This is one of the things that I love it as a concept, and I do believe that there's truth in it, is that if you are so overwhelmed with clutter and everything is so jam-packed full, there's no room for new things and new experiences to enter your life. And if you're like me, yeah, you want new experiences and you want joy and time with friends and everything else. But when I do have a decluttering time, I'm opening space for beautiful things to come into my life. If you can go in with that intention, you will constantly be inviting good to your life while you're also not getting rid of negative. You're giving new energy and new life to the things that you're releasing. That's just how the world works. When you're donating things, maybe it doesn't have something a special place for you anymore, but it probably does for somebody else who's going to pick it up at the charity shop, or who found it, on Facebook Marketplace or Vinted or whatever it may be. But you transfer energy, you transfer love, you transfer joy while you still invite those blessings into your life. It's something that I think is just really, really cool. I love the reminder that, so how everybody apparently has a junk drawer in their house, right? Where they just throw all their stuff, the junk drawer. Well, think of it like this. If you come home every day and you throw your keys down on the table and put your mail down on the table, and then, you might put your pen down on the table, and then, well, that's all there. So now you'll put a book down. You'll put a puzzle you were working on. You'll put all this stuff down. Clutter attracts clutter. I'm really guilty for it, like with my kitchen counters. It's awful. I clear them off, but then, I put one thing, and then suddenly you have everything there. And the best way to not build up clutter is to not put the thing there to start with. Yeah, it's true. And I do have a designated area on my table where I keep my day planner and a notebook and a book, because that's where I look every morning for, what I've got going on for the day, what I've got going on for the week, making myself little notes, writing shopping lists. And really, I need to put it somewhere else. But I also know ADHD brain will go out of sight, out of mind, and like for real. And so I think we make compromises on what works for us and our situations. Sometimes I'm really fancy and I move it down on the chair when I want things to look really nice. And that's actually so funny to say, but it's true though. You've got the table and then the 4 chairs, and I sit here. Dimitri sits here. He's got his little pile of stuff he needs for school. I've got my little pile of stuff I need for like work and life. And then I have my little pile, and then I move it onto the chair if I need to. But I'm going to say pat on the back to myself, because it was actually quite bad. It was getting a little bit, it was getting out of hand. Okay, let's be real. It was super getting out of hand. And I took away more than half of it, and I've decided, no, you cannot leave your nail polish there. You cannot leave your hand cream there, whatever it is, because I get into that, and then that's where it starts to become a problem. But I have my limited things that can stay there in that clutter zone, and then that's it. So if you dedicate the space, I think it's kind of fine. Every time I find myself needing declutter, I need that time to have a little clear out. I know it generally comes from a place of feeling a little bit overwhelmed. I cannot stand looking at too much stuff going on. And I think, sorry, Mom, but I know my house is too much for her sometimes, because I just have so many things going on in here at any given point. And so when I can go through and I can organize things, I can condense things, I can move things to other places, or, just take care of everything that's going on. It's really grounding. And I think you might find that too if you do it. It is very, very grounding. You feel like everything that's taking up your eyesight, I don't know, what is that? Like taking up your line of sight? I don't know. You're looking at too much shit, and then it gets stuck in your brain too. That's the best way to describe it. But when you start okay, I have some stock that I was shipping out, and so I've got it in one of my rooms, but it was spread through 3 boxes, and I went through and I moved some of the stuff that was finished, some stuff, I had recycling stuff, and I condensed the boxes and packed the stuff for shipping and everything else. And wow, suddenly I actually want to go in that room again. I put my records together because I got a couple records, and some of them had just been sitting out as I was filing and categorizing them. but they're all in boxes now. They're still not quite categorized or properly filed. They're taken care of. They don't look like they've just been tossed there. Just by condensing those things and organizing them, sometimes we have this extra stuff that we can't just get rid of. You can't just toss it or donate it or whatever. Obviously, I'm not going to be just throwing out my stock for the subscription boxes or my merchandise. I'm not going to just be throwing that out. So yeah, it just has to get organized. It has to get sorted. It has to be filed in the right way to continue to run the business and everything. Like that just makes sense. It's all good, right? Bringing it together really helped me kind of regain a sense of calm, regain a sense of clarity, feel like I can work in the space, feel like I can, take care of everything, really. It's such a powerful, powerful tool. Beyond the Feng Shui, like I say, it really does help to settle your mind and your spirit. And it also gives you this bit of a reminder, like, what do I really want from life? What am I attracting? What am I holding on to that I don't need to hold on to, that's not serving me, that I don't want to hold on to anymore? And on top of that, how do I move this energy, revive myself, revitalize my space? It's good things to consider sometimes. So I'll give you my top tips for removing the clutter in the house. Okay? Setting your mind free, setting your soul free. I think a lot of it can start with having a good old fashioned clear out. So, where do we start? It doesn't matter where exactly that you start, but maybe start with the place that you can take it one of two ways. The place that's bothering you the most, or the one you'll find easiest to do. Sometimes I start in my kitchen because it'll be easiest, right? So in my kitchen, I'll go through and I'm actually way better than I used to be at this, but you'll buy all these things to make a recipe and then you just like don't really use much of it after that. And then it just sits there and it expired 2 years ago and you go, oh yeah, maybe I won't use that anymore. And so you get rid of it. But I find that's the really easy one because you don't have to think as much about it. There's not as much emotional attachment to the stuff in your kitchen. You might go, I have like 62 teapots. Maybe I can let one of them go. You don't have to, but you could. That's another option, right? Kitchen's very easy. And then usually I'd go to like places of urgency. And then I'd probably go to my closet last. We could talk. That's like very Mary Kondo. That was her name, right? Where she does it spark joy. And there's a lot of truth in that, though. Not everything needs to spark joy. Some things need to spark functionality. When I say things that don't serve you, they don't have to be useful, but like functional things. They can be fun things, absolutely. So like, here's one, if you're watching on YouTube. Why? I want to be able to see it properly. Yes. My mom got me this from Selfridges for Chinese New Year a few years back. Is it useful? No. Does it have a function? No. Am I obsessed with it? Even like my little Pokemon figurines that I have and my black cats and my little York ghosts. I love them. They're not functional, but I absolutely love them. I'm not getting rid of them. It's the stuff that you don't use, the stuff that sits in closets, that sits in cupboards, that you truly do not touch. I appreciate there are times where you go, damn it, I got rid of that, and because I never used it, now I need it. And there is always that risk, but honestly, most of the time, you don't actually need it. That's kind of my deciding thing. Okay, when I put this piece of clothing on, how does it make me feel? Do I feel awful in it? Let it go. Maybe it worked for me at the time and it doesn't work for me now. It's okay. let it go. If you've had something that's always like, you bought it and it kind of worked, but it never really worked, let it go. If you bought duplicates of things and you have no use for them, let it go. Maybe you used to be a hardcore Sylveon fan, like me. I'm a hardcore Sylveon fan, but you're not anymore. You can let the plushies go, for example. You know, there's things, if they're broken, either fix it or let it go. And that's kind of just the best approach to take. It's the simplest approach to take. It can be really hard to make decisions too. And honestly, if you are super, super on the fence about something, probably means it should stay. And that's okay too. You don't have to beat yourself up. There's no set amount that you have to get rid of. You don't even need to do your whole house. Like I say, it's just something I find really a great tool for reconnecting, for looking at everything that I really value in life. And it goes beyond the things, because I think you end up having like kind of a deep spiritual reflection and, discussion with yourself about, end of the day, what is important, right? What do we really want? What do we really need? What do we really strive for in this life? And how do we open up and make space, make it available so that these things come for us? I've always found that decluttering is such an incredible way to free your mind and free your soul from small burdens, but sometimes big burdens too. And sometimes feeling stagnant and feeling stuck. Maybe it's not for everybody, but I find it can be one of the most freeing activities that you might do. So I'll be really curious to know if you try any of these decluttering methods, if you have done it before. I want to know what kind of things you keep, what kind of things you let go of. One thing I feel kind of wild that I let go of a lot is books. So I read books. I know if I'm like 100% certain I'm not going to read them again, I just let them go. I'll either donate them to our little local community bookstore, bring them to Tesco, where they have used books, all sorts of good things. It's about sharing energy, and it's about sharing love and opening yourself up for a beautiful life that is ahead and that you absolutely can create for yourself. So let me know. Are you going to give it a go? Have you done it? I want to hear all about your decluttering journey, and I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful start to the week. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye. Thanks so much for joining us on the Healthy Metal Hippie podcast. For more ways to connect, go to www.healthymetalhippie.com.